Good morning, everybody. Today I'm here to share about the importance of actually writing a will. Okay, so basically, first of all, we need to understand what is a will. A will basically is a document that you can specify how your asset can be distributed, okay, upon your death. Now, there are actually three key points here. Number one, the will, okay, is something that you can actually happen effective only upon your death. So which means to say, as long as you're alive, all these assets that you specify how to be distributed only will actually happen when you die. Number two is that this will that you write is revocable any point of time. So which means to say, if you happen to write a will today, okay, next week you change your mind. Then, for that matters, you can always change it, your will, and the last and the latest will be the latest and valid will. And the third point, you need to actually understand that what are the assets that you can actually will away in your actual will. So the asset you can actually will away could be the house, could be the investment properties, cash, could be the bank accounts, the money in the bank account, the unit trust, jewelry, your watches, and things like that. Okay? Now, what problem do we face when we don't have a will? When we don't have a will, there are actually three main problems that we'll face. Now, one problem is that you don't get to distribute your assets according to what you wish. Okay? For example, I think in Malaysia, if you're non-Muslim, your asset will be distributed according to Distribution Act 1958, amended in 1997. Okay? So if there's an example of like someone, a man, who passed away leaving behind a wife, and then also maybe 3 children and parents. Okay? In this case, for actually non-Muslim, quarter of his actually asset will be going to the wife, another actually quarter will be going to the parents, share equally, and another half will be given to the 3 children. Now, so imagine if you have a house, okay, this house will be shared based on the percentage I mentioned just now. Okay, so in this case, some people, or say some wife, may have a difficulty actually to share the house together with the parents, the husband, and things like that. Okay, so basically, if you have the wish to want to will away the house directly to the wife, then if you don't have a will, you may not get your wish actually happening like what you want. The number 2 problem when you don't have a will is that you will have a difficulty to get the asset to be distributed with a proper administrator. Okay? Because to get an administrator, you need to get all your beneficiary to agree on one single administrator or 2 administrators. Okay? If there's one disagreement among the beneficiaries as to who's supposed to be administrator, then you will end up arguing, and you don't get the administrator, and your process of administration of your estate cannot be moving forward. And the whoever appointed as an administrator will be required to get 2 sureties for the whole estate administration. What do we mean by sureties? Sureties means someone who's supposed to be acting as a guarantor to the whole estate administration. So, which means to say, these 2 guarantor sureties must have the requirement whereby their asset value must be equal or more than the deceased estate value. So, which means to say, if the deceased has got the estate value of, say, 10 million, then in this case, these 2 sureties must have an asset equal or more than 10 million. Now, can you imagine how difficult is it for this administrator to find 2 sureties who is willing to actually act as a guarantor to administration? Because if there's a manipulation or there's a missing asset in this estate administration, for example, there are 2 million missing, these 2 guarantor or sureties is supposed to actually top up the difference. So that's where the challenge of getting an administrator for anyone who lives with no will. Then the third problem we will face when we don't have a will is that we will have delays and actually difficulty to have access to the asset of the deceased. So what actually happens is that when one person passes away, all the assets will be frozen in a sense. So whether it's your house, your investment properties, the bank account, your unit trust account, your Bursa Malaysia shares, all be frozen, pending for the administrator to get a letter administrations from the court. So in this period of time, it could be as long as 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, or even 10 years. Okay? So during this period of time, the family member, between your children, your wife, would not have any money, especially if the wife do not actually work, to support their living expenses to actually maintain their education fees and everything, plus these education funds and things like that. Very importantly also, we're talking about if you have loan, mortgage loan, and any loan that you're supposed to service the installment, in this period of time, the family members will have a difficulty to service the loan. Okay? So that's why we're talking about here, when you don't have a will, it causes a lot of delay for your family member to have access to the asset and to the cash, and that's where it causes cash flow problem. Okay? So that's why when we actually don't have a will, these are the problems that we actually face, and this is what I want to share today about the importance of writing a will. Next week, I'll be on this section again to share about how we can actually write a valid will and how we can actually use a will to make sure that our money management is properly done. Okay, don't forget, I'll see you next week again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yap. That was very informative. We look forward to next week to actually finding out how to put a will together.
Yeah, sure. That's very important. For more tips and tricks on how to be financially independent, catch this segment every Tuesday.